Hello class, in this video I'm going to show you some quick little tips and tricks to execute some of the problems in Excel. Basically I want to just show you the things that are going to get the job done the quickest, fastest, and most accurate way possible. So for this first problem, it's asking you to create a spreadsheet and call it your grade calculator. This requires you to know a little something about weighted grades. Weighted grades are different than just taking a straight average. So if you got scores of, let's say these were your scores for the class, and you just took a straight average, okay, and that's just the sum of the numbers divided by the total number of scores that you have, that gives you your mean or average. Some teachers, I guess in this class, this is not my choice or whatever, however, in this class we have weighted grades. So that means certain assignments and tests and quizzes are worth more or less than each other based on the perceived difficulty or amount of effort required. Um, don't ask me why. I'm not a big fan of weighted grades, but they are what they are. So to calculate them, it's really easy. You just take what those percentage weights are and you convert them to a decimal. So each of the homework assignments are worth 10%. So to change that to a decimal, it's just 0.1. Okay. And like vice versa for the final exam, it's 20%, it's 0.2. So you just take the weight, okay, and then the actual percentage score that you earn that you're going to get in Leo, okay, and then you just multiply the two together to get what the contribution is. Now, the weights need to always add up to 100, or in this case 1.00, so you can do that sum real quick using the equal sum function, okay? All your formulas in Excel will always start with an equal sign, hint hint, okay? And another quick way to do some quick basic calculations, if you highlight any data down below here, you're going to get your sum, count, and average down here in the bottom right corner, okay? But to check your math, you can just put in your sum function, and you can either just know that it's equal sum, okay, and Excel is going to give you a list, or you can go up to this auto sum function up here in the right corner as well, click sum, and it's going to ask you where the data is, and you just select it and click sum, and you get it. Okay, so then the contribution again is this cell times this cell, so the weight times your percentage grade. Okay, again, the math is right here. The formula always starts with equal sign. To multiply, it's the asterisk, okay? So let's just say we didn't have any of these formulas in here, and I needed them. I'm going to type asterisk. I'm going to click on the first weight, put in my multiplication sign, click on the cell for the next one, click enter, and there it is. To replicate that formula, and so you don't have to retype it, you can either do a Control C and a Control V to copy and paste, or copy and paste, or there's this little thing in Excel, if you highlight, it's tricky, you gotta have a good finger, but when you highlight or mouse over the lower right corner of a cell, you're gonna get a white plus sign and a little black one. You want the little black one. If you hold your mouse down and drag it down, it'll copy the formula for you. You see that? Or another way, if you find the little black plus sign and double click, somehow Excel knows where the end of your data is and it does it automatically for you as well. Excel is really powerful and magical at times, just so you know. So your running and or final grade is just the sum of these contributions, okay? Now, this is a little extra thing I put in here for the letter grade. Basically, what's that saying is any score that's in here, I created some syntax. It says basically if it's greater than an 89, it's an A. If it's greater than a 79, make it a B. And it's using this if function syntax. You don't need to do this for that assignment. If you want to, you can. That's awesome, but you don't need to. Okay, so that's the first one. The second problem, the tea bags, okay, so it basically gives you some data here and asks you to do all these basic descriptive statistics. So the first thing you need to know, and looking at the data, you should say, ew, why is it organized like that? because you should know Excel likes columns of data. It likes the first row, row number 1, to always have a column name, and it likes all its data to be down below. So basically what I did is I copied and pasted the data from the Word file and then took each of these columns and then copy and pasted them in. So I got one big column of data. Again, I can see how many records there are. There's 50. And there you have it. So it's asking for the mean, median, quartile 1, 3, the range, interquartile range, variance, standard deviation, and coefficient of variation. So these are all separate formulas that you can put in here. So again, all your formulas start with the equal sign. So that's using the average function is the same as the mean. This one is the median. This is the quartile1.exe. You can do all these manually, okay? So you know, the range is the min and max and some formula in there. However, just one quick thing. The only one that really stands by itself here is the coefficient of variation, because that's the mean divided by the standard deviation times 100 expressed as a percentage, okay? So you see that up there? That's the mean divided by the standard deviation times 100. But the quick and easy way, instead of having to do things like this and do them all individually, we can use our handy dandy data analysis tool pack. So the data analysis tool pack, if you recall, is located in the data ribbon. Okay, so hopefully you installed that add-in already. So you click data analysis right here. You scroll down to descriptive statistics, click OK. It needs the data, so we have our data right here. We're going to highlight that, and yes, we have labels in the first row, and we're going to put the results, I'll put them on the same worksheet here, and so it's going to be in, oh, it needs my data back, hold on. Here's my data, and it's in the labels in the first row, so let me click in the output range as we want to put it right here, and we want to click summary statistics, and I'm going to click the box for confidence level for the mean, because you don't need it right now, but in the future you're going to need it, so I always just check the box anyway, and then you just click OK. And so then here we go, we get all our summary statistics right here, all done. And you can see I already had it over here on the right, but I just showed you how to do it real quick. So look, here's our mean, here's our median, here's our standard deviation, here's our min, our max, our range. So again, the coefficient of variation, you're going to have to just divide the mean divided by the standard deviation times 100, and you have your coefficient of variation. The only thing that's not in the data analysis tool pack, again, is this quartile function. So if you look up here, it's in, again, Excel, when you start with an equal sign and start typing something, it'll start giving you functions. So there it is right there. And what's cool about this, once you get that, if you click on the little function box up here, it gives you, you can just, it's point and click. So it wants the data. We're going to exclude the column name. We want quartile 1, and then you would just repeat this for quartile 3, and it tells you everything right down here. You click OK, there's our quartile. Okay, so the interquartile range is quartile 3 and quartile 1. You do the math, you get the range. So there's the formula. So that's it. There's all your descriptive statistics for the second problem. Easy breezy. Now, this next problem here, we're going to totally ignore what it's asking about using the frequency to create the bins, okay? Because there's a lot easier way to do this, all right? So here we go. We got the data, and so you know as well, it's giving you these dollar amounts in thousands. So what that really looks like is this, all right? So rather than dropping off the zeros, when you bring the data into Excel, you can just copy and paste right from the Word doc into Excel. And the way I got the numbers is I copied and pasted in and then multiplied each cell by 1,000, and I got the full home sales price, okay? So if this was the data for the first row and I just said equals this number times 1,000, I got my dollar amount. You see that? just makes it easier to work with, no further interpretation needed. Now it says it wants this thing called bins, okay? So there's two ways to do this, and the easiest way and the most, like I say, the best way to do this, we're going to use a pivot table or a pivot chart, okay? So to do that, we're going to click on the first cell here, the column name. We're going to go to the insert menu. In the upper left corner here it says pivot table, and we're going to click on that, okay? And it wants to, Excel will automatically select the data for you, except this is incorrect. We only want this first column of data, and we're going to click new worksheet. So and it wants us to create our pivot table. So this is how you create a pivot table. It's going to give you this pivot table list on the right. As you're going to check this box, and since I already worked on this, it's giving me the bin ranges. So I'm going to show you how to ungroup that. So basically it just took all our data and sorted it for us high to low. But what we want to do to get our bins, we're going to do this thing called grouping the data. So we're going to go up here on the pivot table tools options, click group field, and it automatically knows what the lowest end of the data is and what the highest end of the data is. And then this is what the grouping. So the by 100,000, if I click OK, and again Excel figures this out for you automatically, you click OK, it gives you bins. Now this looks a little too much, there's too many bins here, so we're gonna ungroup the field, and we're gonna group it again, and let's change this to like 500,000. So here we have 4 bins, and here, this is the power of Excel. Let's say I like to have a little more, so let's try 400,000 here. So we have 5 bins in this example. Okay, so that is our bin ranges, okay? But we need to get a count, okay? So if we go back to our pivot table, I'm going to take this single column of data, I'm going to put it here. Here's our frequency table. So basically what it's saying, for all the home prices that are between 105,000, 504, 999,000, there's 23 homes. There's 15 homes that are between these two prices, 8, 2, and 1. So to get our histogram, we're just going to take that data, highlight it. Again, we're going to go to Insert. We're going to go to Column. We're going to go 2D Column. So here's the making of our histogram. So by definition, a histogram, and I don't know why Excel does this, the bars are fat, okay? So if you double click the bar and go to gap width and make this 0 and close, there's our histogram. So here then you can change the title and the like. And what's nice about using the pivot table or pivot chart methodology, it gives you the range, okay? So and I honestly think all histograms should be based on a range, because the other way to do this is to take this data and see these bins here. You can use that frequency function to kind of guess where the bins were, but you kind of have to do it first ahead of time. And see, these numbers here, okay, are going to correspond to just the end range. Okay, so if I took just 504.99, 904.99, 1304.999, so on and so forth, and made those the quote-unquote bins, I can then use, okay, we're going to go to data analysis, and we're going to go down. There's a little thing here called histogram. Now granted, this is faster, but again, I think there's more legwork and it doesn't give you the flexibility of the pivot table and generating the bins. But if you just click OK and highlight your data here, and then the bins are right there, which is this data. And what you want to do here is check the box for cumulative percentage and chart output, and then click OK. Well, there, yeah, that was a little faster, I know, but it's uglier, I think, okay? Because in this example, I have my bin ranges here, but they're not written as the range. You see the difference? You see how in our previous example we get the range on the bottom on the axis here. I think that's more helpful in interpreting the graph than just having this number, because then you, as the reader, need to know that this is the end of that particular range. So this is basically saying that there's 10 homes that are $354,909 or less, and that there's 20 homes that are $604,999 or less. Whereas in the range example, I think that gives you more information. So that is that. The rest of the problem asks you to create a pie chart. So again, you just take your data, insert, go to pie, click pie, boom, done. I don't know why it asks you to create another bar chart, because the histogram is by definition also a bar chart, so you don't need to do that. So I would use the pivot table manual, but now you know there's also the histogram function in the data analysis tool pack. And that is it for the homework. If you have any questions, just ask, and I'll respond to you as soon as I can.